What a pleasure to be speaking to Angeles Moreno from the Creative Dots today. Tremendous experience losing her company to the wrong partner and writing a book about it. That's what she's doing. And she's also very involved in new project. We'll be speaking as well about the importance of women empowerment and more importantly, how to do it. And she will share with us as well some great ideas on how to interact with people and what it means to be an event manager face-to-face, online, or is it really something? Enjoy. Hello and welcome to a new episode of the Business of Meetings podcast. Today, I have the great pleasure of speaking with, yes, she's right, she's our first Spanish person, Angeles Moreno from the Creative Dots. Angeles is an amazing entrepreneur. She is involved in so many different initiatives. She's an icon in our industry. She helped NPI in Europe. She helped with the event design. She is helping with the women in digital in Switzerland. She's doing project in Catalonia. She's an author. The time is now. Do you have a twin sister, Angeles, or you do everything yourself?
I do everything myself. I think I sleep very little because on top of that, I have 3 children. So it's like a super busy life, but super exciting, and I'm very happy. Yeah,
impressive,
super happy.
Impressive. Yeah. Tell us a little bit how you get into the industry, and was it something that you study for, or you just happened by coincidence?
Well, the first thing I want to say is thank you very much for the invitation. It's really a pleasure, even that it's super late here. So hopefully I'm still very bright and fresh in my thinking. But I really enjoy talking to you and supporting in your project. I think it's an honor. So thank you very much for the invitation. How did I arrive to the industry? Well, my family traditionally work in tourism a lot. And I was living when I was a child in an area of Spain, which is the Canary Islands, which is very famous for tourism. And so my family forced me to study law. So they wanted me to be a lawyer. It was good to have a lawyer and a doctor in the family. So it was lawyer for me and doctor for my brother. But I decided that I wanted to study tourism. And I was going to the university at night when anyone at home could notice that I was not studying in my room. So it was in the afternoon. And I got the position in tourism and so on and so on. So it was a big story. And then I started in a hotel chain. And by coincidence, because I speak fluent German, Spanish, and English, I got an offer to work in what is right now Pacific World. Unfortunately, they shut down the operations in Europe. It was at that time the previous company from Pacific World, and they offered me to work in their events department. It was the special operations department. Sounds very interesting for me. They were looking for someone bilingual in German, and I was super young at that moment. I was, I don't know, like 23, 24, more or less. And since the very beginning, I thought, wow, that's I got it. That's it. No, and after fighting with my family because I didn't want to study law and I didn't want to become a lawyer, they understood that was my passion, and I wanted to continue building bridges, working with international people, understanding how to create emotions and experiences in my country, how to build connections. And this was my start, and this is how I became a professional in this industry. That it's so exciting.
That's amazing. So what happened after Pacific World? How many years did you work there? And what was the next step before starting your own company?
Well, it was a little experience. So in less than 2 years and a half, I was running probably like the biggest event that the operation was. So I was super eager to learn. And I still remember there was human resources came to me one day, sat me down in a table and said, listen, you need to stop. For the last 4 months, you have not taken any weekend free. You have been participating in all the operations from the company over the last 4 months, and this is insane. I mean, this is not healthy, and you need a balance and so on. And I said, you know what? I'm the youngest person in the team, but I don't want to be the last one. So I need to learn a lot. And the only way I know is participating in all the operations and so on. So then the story in that company obviously was short, because I was all the time looking for more and more and more responsibility and bigger events and so on. So then I moved to another company, which is a smaller company, but it was very famous at the moment in my country. But there I was only like a couple of years, because I wanted to travel. I wanted to live in other regions in Europe also. So I spent some time in England, and then I moved to Germany. So I worked in an agency also in the UK, in London, and then I was working also in Düsseldorf in Germany. And then I came back. I set up a company. So it was my first company already at that moment, and it was 1999. I set up a marketplace online for organizing events at that moment.
In 1999.
In 1999. So it was a moment, Eric, imagine. So we were talking to companies that they didn't even have a webpage. So they were looking at me like, oh my God, who's that crazy young personality and so on. And I got funding. So I got, as a startup, we got fundings from a very famous telecom company in the market. We closed the first contract with a lot of zeros, which was we were super happy. Working 20 hours a day, developing the strategy, also implementing web pages in the industry, talking to everyone just to become digital at that moment. And then suddenly the crisis of the .coms came, and we had to shut down in 48 hours, I think it was more or less. So this was the first disaster. But it was a great learning. And then at that moment, I was already 100% sure that my life I was an entrepreneur. So it was like, I need to have my own project. And this is sometimes a big headache, big times. But
I have no idea what you're talking about.
Yeah, sometimes it's like, oh my God, why I'm here? But the reality is that the opportunity that it gives you to create, to make decisions, and to challenge yourself, it's enormous. So I set up an event management agency. That was 2001. And then I started, small office, a computer that my family let me.
Where? In the Canary Island?
No, it was already Madrid, but it was in the city center, in the old town, where the rental fees were super cheap. It was the only thing I could pay at that moment. And then I started that project without really thinking if this will work or not. 5 years later was already a company with a turnover of millions. And then 8 years later was growing. And 10 years later was even more bigger. And then after 14 years, I made a decision to join with new partners, which was a really bad decision. You told me that story, yeah. And that's my book that I had to...
Show us the book. Time is now. The time is now.
The time is now. The time is now.
So what is the book talking about? That your experience at that moment?
Yeah, I think it's talking about transformation. It's talking about what forced you to make decisions to transform yourself in a professional perspective, and where do you need to find the resources, the strengths, and the energy to make that things, and what kind of decisions you need to make at that moment when something like, for example, in my case in 2014, I realized that I made the worst decision you can ever make, which is partnering with the wrong people.
Ouch.
And then you lose your company. So suddenly after 14 years or 15 years, you lose everything. So you notice that you lose control of everything and you're completely out. So you don't have a company anymore. You don't have a job anymore. And you don't know where to go, because actually after 14, 15 years, you're so used to be in that company that it's very difficult, no, to. So I decided to write a book because I think during this period of COVID, I've been enjoying and suffering for so many people that they lost that many things, and I think the story that I went through in 2014 could help a lot of people in reading that, because as you said, I mean, I'm a person that a lot of people look at me and a lot of people think that I'm super strong and that I'm always happy and that my life is perfect. And no, I'm not always happy and my life is not always perfect. And I want to show and open my heart and tell something super personal into explaining what could happen to you when something came super disruptive that destroy your career in one point. No?
Well, maybe not your career, but destroyed everything you've built so far.
Everything in that moment.
Do you still believe in the power of 2 or 3 people together, or you say you don't want to have any more partner in your professional career? Or do you say, you know what, if I had to do it again, this is what I would do? And I'm interested to know, what is it that you would do?
I think it depends on your character. I think partnering with people, it's amazing, but it depends on how you are. And I'm not an easy person to partner with. So that's a reality. I'm very strong character. I have very clear ideas, and sometimes it's difficult to convince me, or it's difficult, to get in agreements, in that sense. So I'm very determined in that process. So I think for me, the learning is never lose the majority of the shares. So that's a big thing, because I sold the 53% of the company. And then you lose 100% the control of the legal aspects of the company, of the accounts, everything. So you lose the control of the money, of taxes, everything. And that was a big learning for me. I trusted at that moment. It was a big trust. I was 100% convinced. I was not well advised, so I didn't have the right, probably, people by my side, experts in merchant acquisitions. So it was, little steps of little things that made like a huge mistake at that moment altogether. So
did you reach out to people to advise you before, or you decided, no, I'm doing this on my own?
I was so convinced. Oh my God. I trusted 100% my gut feeling, and they seemed to be such nice persons, and I never thought this could happen to anyone. So I never ever thought that anyone can come to your company and destroy your project. So this was nothing in my head at that moment. Now I learned.
and I think it's a great point for everybody's listening. You don't need to be a big corporation to have a board of advisors, stuff like that. You can call it your board, whatever it is. You can gather some friends or people you trust to basically reflect on your business and get advice from.
And that's super important. Now with my new business, I have a group of people advising. We do test in new projects, new services. I talk to them. I have a business coach that is helping me also in making decisions, in preparing for tough meetings. So I have that many things that I never thought were so crucial. And I don't run the company on my own anymore. So it's always people nearby me and telling me, some people I have to pay, some others you can have also the pleasure of having people super incredible that will help you for nothing. And you can give them in return other things, for example, which is something very valuable. And then some people you have to pay. Yeah, you need to pay experts also to be by your side.
But you maintain the control of the company.
Yeah.
So, and I think your story is very inspiring, because look, as the saying goes, what doesn't destroy you make you stronger. Today, all this initiative you're involved with, the book you wrote, the project you're running, it's definitely because you're even stronger and learn from that situation, which 100%. By the way, sounds very similar to what I could have experienced in my life in the past. But that's the most important. It's not that you put a knee on the ground. Is that how you stand up and start walking again?
100%. I think you need to surround yourself very good. You need to have trust in yourself, and make the right decisions, open a lot of conversations, and evaluate exactly and build your journeys. Like is where I'm gonna. For me, the crucial point at that moment was use all the experience you have to build a new life. So you have the opportunity to do something better for the future. And for me, probably if this at that moment didn't happen, I would have never left my previous company, which was an event management company. And then I was not doing events anymore for 10 years. So I was not doing my passion. I was almost not in touch with clients because running the business was already 120% of my time, and my worries and my brain energy. So the reality is that what I'm doing right now, I'm far much more happy than before. I'm earning less money, I have to say, but it's far much more exciting. I completely built the model that I want to be in.
That's fantastic, and that's very exciting to hear. I'm very happy for you for that, Angeles.
Yeah.
Now you started Creative Dots. What is it that you're doing? I know you're very deep into behavior change, people, and also you have an office in Berlin. I think I know the person in Berlin. Do I?
Oh yeah, you better know him. He's fantastic.
Is it Garrett, right?
Garrett. Yeah, Garrett is my partner.
A wonderful guy.
Oh, he's fantastic person and professional. And we have a lot of fun working together. It's really a pleasure. It's a pleasure. And yes, I build the Creative Dots, and we do human-centered strategies. So we embrace change in organizations and corporations, and they come to us and say, I don't know, I'm missing stakeholder engagement, or I'm missing to review the value proposition, or I'm missing, we don't have results. No, in a project I've been recently involved for 1 year, it's like we have one department that it's working a lot. We are recruiting people all the time, and it's huge, but at the end of the year, it's not making any money. So we need someone that it's actually analyzing what the hell is happening in that process. So we do this type of things all the time, which is extremely exciting because we change people, we change company cultures. And we were at the beginning very much focused into the event industry. Then slowly and step by step, obviously, you get to work in different industries and different type of projects. But at the end, I think the knowledge that we have from the event industry and what an event is, it's super powerful to understand how humans work together, how they can create better things, how they can be more efficient in the way they are working, how you can push them to be more creative. So all these things are learning from the event industry. I think sometimes we underestimate how much we know in this industry.
Absolutely. And I think that's the skills. And I know a lot of people, as you rightly said, have been furloughed or laid off and are thinking of maybe doing something else or in another industry for the foreseeable future. What I've observed is that people in our industry are able to do a lot of different jobs in a lot of different industries because of the nature of putting events together, of the different element that comes together, of managing change, managing stress, managing people from different culture. But the opposite is not necessarily true. When I have friends and family that came with me on project to help because it's great to go and they came back totally exhausted and they said, I had no idea what you're doing.
Now I learn. No, I think we underestimate ourselves. So right now, when I see people that because we cannot do physical events, they are completely destroyed and, oh, we cannot work. It's like, no, wait. You are an expert in human interactions.
Mm-hmm.
You are an expert in designing transformational experiences.
Mm-hmm.
You just have to believe in that and go one step further.
Yeah.
And once you believe in that and make some extra learnings, probably you're missing some little details and extra learnings, and you have to invest in that. Then you can be in the next level. Absolutely. And I see a lot of people, just because they cannot be running an event in a hotel or going to any other place, that they are completely lost in their profession. It's like, no, wait, what are your strengths? It's like, you are the only person capable to manage hundreds of people running from one place to the other, trying to get to different, keynotes and sessions and F&B and sleeping in other places and having fun and create the whole experience and make that very successful.
And on that point, we need to understand what it is to do the F&B part, but we're not the one doing the F&B part. We're coordinating it. The same things goes for me when it comes to online event. Do you have to understand the interaction? Absolutely. How to design an agenda? Absolutely. How to engage people? Absolutely. And there's different ways and similar ways when you compare with face-to-face. But you don't have to run the online part. And that's, I think, maybe a blocker or a limited belief that people have right now, is that they need to be able to deliver the online. No, they need to be able to partner with people that are specialized in production.
I've seen, for example, I'm sure you will agree with me. 2 weeks ago, I saw an advertising in social media saying, we're looking for a virtual event manager. It's like, okay, this is the next mistake of the industry.
Mm.
It's not a virtual event manager. An event manager, it doesn't matter the format, is an expert in managing events, which is a live communication strategy.
Mm-hmm.
And then if they have to partner with something expert in virtual tools, amazing. If it's physical, amazing. If it's a mix, even better. But don't ask for virtual event manager, because we shouldn't accept that in this industry, by the way. I think it's a big mistake.
That's very interesting thought. When I got married, I told our families, I said, it's my business. I know how to put events together. It's my wedding. Nobody's going to do it but me. And then one of my wife's uncle is a baker, and came to me and he said, Eric, when I got married, I didn't bake the cake. I said, yeah, no, that's a good point. That's a very good point, actually. And to do the parallel now, I think we have to understand what it takes to do a meeting online. Yes, the agenda would be different. The session would be shorter. There's different way of engaging with people. Absolutely. That doesn't mean that you have to run the production. There are people that are specialized in that you should be partnering with.
100%. And they are not experts in events.
Correct.
And they are experts in digital tools, which is a completely different word for many of the people. Mm-hmm. But I think we're making that kind of mistake right now, which is first thing is pivoting online, exactly the same format and the same content and everything from a physical event into a virtual platform. That's a huge mistake. And the second thing is like trying to convert event managers from the physical world into virtual event managers. Mm-hmm. That's ridiculous again. So I think these are the two main mistakes I'm seeing in the industry right now, which is I think it's going to impact for the future a lot. And hopefully big associations like MPI or PCMA, so this big group of people really raise their voice and say, listen, wait, event manager is a profession. It doesn't have to be physical. It doesn't have to be virtual. It could be hybrid, but the profession, it's creating transformational experiences. Mm-hmm. And I haven't seen that. Hopefully, if I'm not any longer engaged with associations, but it would have been something. It would have been my battle if I were still
for the moment you're not engaged with associations.
Yeah, I think after 8 years I've been with MPI. As a chapter leader, then president, then chair of the council in Europe, and then advisor in Europe for strategic decisions. I think to take a little bit of distance in that process is super nice for me because I get revamp my energy, look at other places, learn a little bit more, and maybe I can be more of value after 1 or 2 or 3 years, and to come back. And yes, I think volunteering or giving back to your community is super nice.
I totally agree. We have in the industry over 80% of the members are women.
Yeah.
And I know that women empowerment is very dear to your heart, to me as well, but I'm in a less ideal position to speak about it with a facial hair and a voice. No, I agree with you. It's just, I totally agree with you. But I know there's something that you are very active in, and you're also active in Women in Digital in Switzerland. So how do you get involved with Women in Digital in Switzerland? And what do you think the industry is missing to truly empower women?
I mean, truly empower women is not only something missing in this industry, so it's something missing in the world. So let's say that there are a lot of different elements that need to change, and basically it's culture, it's education. Since they are little childs, I think we are missing leaders that are running the change. I think the COVID era right now, it's a huge opportunity to make strong changes in that process. And therefore, for example, we set up a group right now for female leadership in event strategy, which is a sessions that we are running every 2 months with female leaders in EMEA, talking about event strategy, and also why do we have to be more inclusive in our design of our events, because events is something that a lot of people see. So if an event is very inclusive in their messages, in their participants, in their people, in their speakers, and that many aspects, I think it's incredible as an example. So, and then the people will get used to that. Yeah. Right now, we are not used to that. So
we're used to it's called the manel, the panel with only men.
No, and that's incredible. For me, it's already a little bit shocking, but the people is used to that. And we need to change that. And to change that, we need to start probably with the little children at school, education, giving them the example, leading by example. I think, and I've been through that for 3 times. So 3 children, 3 times that it's very difficult. It's really very strong decisions that you need to make to continue with your professional career once you're a mom. It's extremely difficult because in general, the society, nor the governments, no one help you in that process. And still today, you go to any school, and because it's not you, it's your husband or your partner going to pick the children up when they are feeling sick or whatever. A question on, and where's mom could come in any moment. No, it's like, and where's mom? It's like, why are you making me the question? And so there is a strong conversation to happen. I think in this industry, as in many other industries, in governments in general. So you see the numbers, I think we are below 30% of females in board positions across the world. And that's super critical, because until you don't get used to see females in management positions, until you don't get used to that process, until the little children don't see that the teacher in the first grade, it's always a woman, and in the second grade is always a man, and in the university it's always a man, and the math teachers are always men, but the literature teachers are always female. So at the end, you are starting to divide your brain, and you are always used to, oh, this is for female, this is for male, and that's so wrong. And why digital? Well, the women in digital in Switzerland, they asked me to be their mentor. And I love the project because I think we are suffering of a lack of female talent in digital, which means that in a digital economy, if we don't have females, we will disappear from decision-making positions.
Yeah.
And probably in the near future, if we don't change that, we will be back at home, because we won't be creating companies, we won't be making decisions, and this 1 year after 1 year after 1 year, then in 10 years you imagine that if you don't earn enough money, then the family makes the decision. It's like, who's going to stay at home? The one that is getting less money. And if that's the woman, then we will be staying at home in the future. So I think for me, strong focus into digital societies, associations, communities, and projects to promote that we need more young ladies in digital careers and being more open to the digital world. I think it's crucial.
A very good point. Now, with everything you're doing, you find the time to write the book. How can people buy the book? How can they get the book? Is it on Amazon, or where can we find the book?
You know that I wrote it without any intention to charge for that. It was a personal project that I had to write it because I believe that it can help a lot of people. Mm-hmm. And because I wanted to write it also, I had it in my mind. It was something that I needed, to take it out of my head. So during the confinement, because I was not sleeping a lot, and that I had some strong personal problems during confinement, I used the time in the middle of the night to start it's like, okay, start telling anyone. It's like, what do you want to express? Then I made the decision to approach MPI and to say, listen, if I fund money, can I give that to the MPI Foundation? If there's anyone that wants to give any penny for that, it's not going to be a bestseller. But I don't know if we get 3,000 euro, 30,000 euro, I have no idea. Can I give that back to the foundation? Because the foundation was a key element in my restarting process when I suffered that problem with my company. So I got super involved with MPI, and it was my positive path not to get completely mad into that process. And Paul and Darren, they came back to me in 1 second and say, oh my God, that's so amazing. It's like, oh, don't expect a lot of money, but let's try to do that. Let's do some funding. And so it's going to be launching my new webpage, which will be probably in 2 weeks live. And the people can download it online there or buy physical in Spanish or in English. And the money will go to the MPI Foundation
to
help.
Obviously, we're recording this today, and by the time it's going to be broadcasted, I guess your link will be live. Yeah. So do you already have the link where we can buy the book?
Yes, the creativedots.com. It's the webpage, and there is a section called the books. And because I write a lot of articles, and so I put everything there. And one is the book, and there you can download online version or the physical. Ask us to send you the physical version if you prefer to have one.
So thecreativedots.com.
That's it.
Awesome. Fabulous. Awesome. That's very generous of you, Angeles. I know it's late there and we can talk for hours. I still have one question to ask you. So after all this is gone and the next time we meet again at a conference, we come with a bottle of champagne. What are we celebrating?
We're celebrating that we met one time and then we became friends.
Yes.
I will never forget how much you were behind me during my super difficult personal moments in the confinement. And I will never forget that because I think it was superhuman from your side.
Thank you.
And so we will celebrate that. We will celebrate that we growth, that we became better persons, that we have a wider vision on how the world has to look like after going through this strange situation, which will be historical and we will never forget.
Yeah.
And we will celebrate that we survive all the situation.
Yeah.
But there's a lot to celebrate, I think. There's a lot to celebrate.
I agree.
Yeah.
I agree. Muchísimas gracias.
Un placer.
Y nos vemos a la próxima vuelta a la conferencia.
Nos vemos. Ojalá.
Gracias.
Gracias, Eric.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Love the conversation with Angeles and tremendous experience. I love her spirit. I love her ideas. She's the poster child of the saying that what doesn't kill you make you stronger. She's absolutely amazing. Thank you so much again, Angeles, for coming on the show. Please join us on the Facebook group, eventbusinessformula.com/group for people in our industry where we exchange information and grow together. And if you want to get in touch with me, I'm on LinkedIn and looking forward to connecting with you. Thank you.